Now presenting Mr. Mike Coyne, Governor's Hurricane Conference board member representing the National Weather Service.
Good afternoon, everyone. Our next award is the Tropical Meteorology Award. It's presented to an individual or organization that has made outstanding or substantial contributions to the advancement and knowledge, application, or understanding of the hurricane forecasting and warning process in the state of Florida. Since 2004, Mr. Mike Boylan has been educating people about trends, model runs, and everything else tropical weather related through his website. He does not forecast, but his dedication and contributions to the citizens of Florida and providing tropical weather information in layman's terms, helping to explain what the forecast trends mean and how to follow all the extensive maps, charts, and graphs located on his website, Mike's weather page, aka spaghettimodels.com. The 2021 Tropical Meteorology Award goes to Mike Boylan of Mike's weather page.
Just click on Mike's page, jump on the nation. Well, there'll always be some haters, but they don't understand. Mike's got a friend and 100,000 more across the land. Well, if you want to know it first and you want to know it right and you want to have time to plan, Drunk Donkey Nation tells your friend, Mike, he's your man. And he's gonna tell you all about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you if it's gonna be a storm or if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news others try to hide. Click on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. Yeah, here on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide.
All right, everybody, what's up? Good morning. Trying to make it a good morning. Back home here in Oldsmar. Made it home last night so we can talk tropics and give everybody up to date and keep up with the latest on Major Hurricane Milton now. Okay, this thing is absolutely intensifying. Crazy right now. It might be one of the fastest developing systems right now currently that we're seeing with Hurricane Hunter data. So kind of what it expected to do, and it's oh man, I don't even know where to begin. So it seems like we were just doing this. Like, I know half the people in Florida right now are just absolutely numb. They don't even want to, believe it. And that is the truth. So let's give everybody a minute to get caught up here, getting the chat turned on. There we go. Thanks, Shelly. So, all right. Well, we're going to go right into the weather here in a minute. Then we'll look at some comments. I want to get right to the latest. My heart just breaks for what's happening with another hurricane coming. I don't even know. I mean, it's starting to settle in now, seeing this track and the possibilities of a major hurricane coming in towards Tampa Bay area, especially. We've had so many come close when so many have turned that I think a lot of us, including me, almost don't even know what to expect, because we've seen these storms tease us, and turn. And this is for all the West Central Florida. Not taking anything away from where Ian hit and Charlie and Irma. We're talking a little bit north of y'all as far as a direct hit. So every day we get closer. Landfall's 2 days from now. Okay, these tracks are going to get more and more believable. Okay. Reality. So take it serious. You know, evacuation orders are going to be coming out probably today, I would think. And they might be some of the largest evacuations we've seen for many of y'all ever. Could be massive evacuations going on here in just a few short hours. So if you're in an evacuation zone, I hope you've got your hotel lined up and a plan in place, because and gas, because it's going to be a mad rush, I believe, to get out of here. So, man, all right. So I'm gonna try to give it to you. You know where we're at. I got a couple things circled here on the website. A lot of great information, hopefully, to help you get through the storm. And a lot of questions. I can't answer all the questions. Trust me. I would love to answer all these questions. What about this? What about that? Well, unfortunately, what I do is give you an overall picture of what's going to happen. Hurricanes are large. Impacts are widespread. You can't pinpoint specific locations because so many people are affected by hurricanes. It's not a exact location. It's an overall location. Okay. And we've really only had anything in our area back in Irma. Irma came up as a Category 1 in 2017 through the state, and we had a lot of damage, you know, but that was a Cat 1 without a direct landfall. Our Tampa Bay area has never got hit with a direct landfall since 1921 when a storm hit Tarpon Springs. So this has not happened for any of us, so we really don't know how bad it could be. So we'll get to questions at the end. I'm going to thank a lot of great supporters at the end. I'll try to mention all the ones that support me, and hopefully you can support them. Obviously, our Daily Brew brought to you by our great friends at ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. Unfortunately, we're probably going to have to cancel the meet and greets, hopefully postpone them soon. But our whole state's going to be dealing with a hurricane here Wednesday and Thursday. Ironically, the Spaghetti Model IPA, now, since released, has been the curse of Florida. So, first with Helene and now Milton. Milton is almost making landfall almost the exact same day as Michael, and Milton replaced the name Michael. That's a weird tidbit. Milton was the replacement for Michael back in 18. They replaced names that are very devastating. They replaced it with Milton. Milton could landfall almost the same day if it slows down a little bit like the GFS. So, all right. So once again, I'm Mike. Welcome everybody. I'm coming to you live from Oldsmar, Florida. Ground zero almost for this hurricane. Hurricane's coming to me, and we're shipping the girls out. They're going to Tallahassee. Not a meteorologist. Stick to National Weather Service, National Hurricane Center, please. I'm just an amateur weather guy. Appreciate you watching. We all have become a wonderful family together. And you know, we've really been through a lot together. And the more I go out on the grounds and meet people, you know, we all share these moments. And Helene was a very sad storm for not only Florida, but Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, even Virginia. And now we're dealing with a pretty impactful, probably one of the strongest hurricanes to hit this section of Florida. So crazy couple weeks here, and I know a lot of people have lost everything, and it's so sad. All right, so here's the facts. So on my page here, we got two areas that I really want people to be aware of and share. The first one is this Florida Division of Emergency Management official storm information. So many questions are asking me, what about this? What about that? When you click on this here, you go to their website, and we have a Hurricane Milton update on the very, very top. You click on that, and we have everything you could possibly want, okay? Let me see if my browser's frozen on this one. Hang on. But the local EOC is the number one website that you should be going to for data as far as evacuations, sandbag information, school closings, anything like that you need. And for some reason their website's slow, or it's me. But the link is there, Florida Division official storm information. And if you want to know your county, there's a Florida EOC link on there that you'll click on. And you'll be able to get all the information you possibly need. Okay, so I don't know if it's their website or mine. Let's try it again. But anyway, the second link is this National Weather Service Hurricane Plan and Prepare. So we have a lot of new folks in Florida that are panicking, they're scared. Everything you need to know is on these links right here. Hurricane Plan and Prepare. When you click on that, it goes to this website. Tons of information on there about what to do before a storm, after a storm, during a storm, how to build a hurricane kit, which you probably should have already. Just everything about zones and why you should evacuate. Anything, any questions you might have, okay, are going to be found on these two links: Florida Division of Emergency Management and National Weather Service Hurricane Plan and Prepare. Every question you might have are going to be found on those two. Just letting you know. Here's what it looks like now. Crazy convection. This thing is absolutely intensifying. Might be record pace intensifying going on right now. This thing is rapidly intensifying. It's 120 mile an hour now. Wasn't supposed to be 120 mile an hour until 12 hours from now. So way ahead of schedule. We're seeing that secondary blob. How many of y'all remember these strong hurricanes always end up having another blob of convection? I don't know what it is. We've seen it time and time again. Strong hurricanes carry on a secondary blob, which is crazy. We talked about this before, and somebody screenshotted all these different hurricanes that have had these extra blobs. So this is our storm, obviously. This is what we're watching. Massive convection, just doing its thing. It's getting stronger. It's a tiny little system. It's going to be really close to the Yucatan. A little worried about the Yucatan this thing has kind of drifted south a little bit, missing all that wind shear to the north. But it's going to be a small little storm for a while. And you know what? It's expected to be 145. It could hit Cat 5. And that would be rare coming from where it's at. The direction that it's going, west to east is very odd. So that's what we got. I want to show you this. This was last night. I shared this. This is crazy. This is our wind map. Obviously, our system's very well defined, right? This area right here has been bringing a lot of rain through Florida the last several days. It is that CAG system that broke off that originally was what the models were picking up on. And it's still on the windy map. It's still out there. It's so weird. We got our main system here, but then we got this other little low pressure here, which is very weird to have something this close together. Odd. It's just odd. But there it is. So that is not a storm. It looks like a storm. It has rotation, but it's actually this piece that we were talking about last week. This actually here, Milton is crossover from the Pacific, and it used to be Tropical Depression 11. And the reason this thing is so powerful is it crossed the Central America and it had a seed. It had rotation. Anytime a system has rotation like this, it gets going. And this one's dealing with a little bit more wind shear and shouldn't be anything, but it's just weird. Hurricane hunters, oh my God, they are absolutely going to town. 943 pressure drop. This is unheard of. The pressure drop in 2 hours has been something like nobody's ever seen. Pressure down to 943. Tiny little system. Tiny little systems can wrap up and they can wrap down. Okay. Shelly, did you butt dial me? 947 to 940. This is crazy. I don't think I've ever seen a pressure drop like this in the Gulf of Mexico, in the open Gulf of Mexico like this. But yeah, I'm reading them. So now Cat 4. Oh my God, Shelly just said it. So we have now Cat 4. It's not even. Is that even possible? Is this really happening? Unbelievable. Oh my God. So we are dealing officially now with Cat 4, just like that. We go from 120 to 150, just like that. Is that really happening? I mean, we talked about rapid intensification. I showed last night 890 pressure. Remember that? Why are you sharing that model? Well, because it might happen. Geez, is that even possible? Category 4, look at that. Jesus, pressure down to 940, winds 150. I mean, this is expected to weaken. Let's not forget that, okay? But this was not supposed to be 120 until tonight. It's already 150. Unbelievable. Rapid intensification. Unfreaking believable. That is nuts. Tiny little system. Hopefully, tiny little systems can go poof as much as they go pop. God almighty. Crazy. So we probably going to have a Cat 5. These pressure readings that we're showing, 890, 900, 910. The thing that worries me about that is this. It's going to weaken, but how fast is it going to weaken on approach? If it's 900, if it weak, so my worry is, we talk about weakening, and everybody, even my neighbor, oh, isn't it supposed to weaken? And that's why I hate this weakening. I talk about it with Florence all the time, 4 to 3 to 2 to 1. Everybody puts their pom-poms out. Oh, it's weakening, downgraded, breaking news. But $24 billion later, Florence was a Cat 1. Does anybody care it was a Cat 1 at that point? So we got to be careful in our messaging here. If it weakens to a Cat 3, that's still the strongest hurricane to hit Tampa Bay since 1921. Okay, so we got to get that out of our mind. Weakening is a terrible word to say right now. We don't want to say that. We want it to weaken, but the perception is weakening is still a major hurricane. Jeez, 9, that's crazy. Breaking news. Thanks, Shelly. I didn't even see that. So, all right, let's talk about the latest. Oh, my God, that's incredible. All right, so there's the latest cone. So here's what's crazy when you look at the discussion. It wasn't supposed to hit 120. Well, now they updated it. Oh, now they're expecting to hit 155. This is all new. This is all happening. Now they're expected to hit 155. So now it's officially supposed to be a Cat 5. But earlier it was only supposed to be 120 tonight. Anyway, so here's what we got. Let me show you all the latest. Nothing's really going to change other than the fact I think the track's going to bump north, maybe a tick. But we're talking, this track is so locked right now. We don't want to focus on that center line. A system this big, this broad, effects are going to be so wide. Teeny little wiggles and wobbles will affect greatly who gets the biggest surge, but that can't be predicted at this point. We just know there's going to be a tremendous amount of surge. We know there's going to be a tremendous amount of winds. Wiggles and wobbles affect it, but in the scheme of things, the hurricane still has massive, far-reaching impacts, and it doesn't really, don't take away, oh, it went south, I'm not going to get anything. That's the problem we saw with Helene. Everybody was wrapped up, worried about little 5-mile shifts, and it affected Tallahassee, yeah, in a good way, but it still messed up millions of other people that didn't care about a 5-mile shift. So this is going to change at 11. We're going to see what they think it's going to be as far as intensity, but anyway, it's still supposed to be a hurricane over Central Florida, 85 miles an hour. So this system's going to be going through the state of Florida still as a hurricane. So that means we have effects. Everybody in that pink likely will be a hurricane warning. Now, I've made it a little bigger, the 3-day track. We're going to have hurricane warnings all the way possibly to the east coast of Florida. That's why the girls are going to Tallahassee. How many times have you all evacuated to Orlando to get hit with maybe even something stronger than what you might have got hit at home? This thing's going to be pushing through the state, the I-4 corridor, heading out the east coast as a hurricane. I mean, you shouldn't be worried about your specific location at this point when you know this storm is so big. There's going to be a lot of folks dealing with this, okay? Not just one little area. Timing is still about the same. Wednesday night landfall. Some of the models were a little slower, but overall, Wednesday to Thursday impacts. Thursday overnight, unfortunately, this is going to really be awful for the overnight into Thursday morning. we're going to have millions of people dealing with a hurricane in Florida in the nighttime hours Wednesday night. And this is going to continue on Thursday when the dirty side is the backside. So real quick, if I don't forget, dirty side on approach is the south side. As far as the bad weather, we saw that with so many hurricanes as our storm spirals in stuff like this. That is the bad side on approach. On exit, it's the opposite. The dirty side now is rotating around this way counterclockwise, and the dirty side is the north side. So a west coast Florida approach, dirty side, south side. East coast exit, north side's the dirty side. Some individual impacts. This is what I was not waiting for in a good way. I was waiting for in a sharing way. This is the official surge forecast now from the National Hurricane Center. This is based on current intensity forecasts. If the intensity is expected to go up, the surge goes up. If the intensity is expected to go down, the surge goes down. But look at that. 5 to 10 feet, Yankeetown to Yanklote River. Those folks just got flooded from Helene. 5 to 10 feet. Now, I always say the big surge is on the south side. The big surge. The problem with a system like this, as we've been showing, it's going to be expanding that wind field. It's going to be pushing a lot of water along the way. Okay? The heaviest is the tails that rotate in from the southwest, but we still get surge sometimes. So it's very tricky. Surge is so tricky. You have to almost become your own weather observer. I know I shared a story, but it really hit home to me. We had a couple that were flooded with Helene here in Oldsmar. They didn't understand. They said that they had the same surge warning for Ian with the same numbers, but they got nothing with Ian. So they didn't think they were going to get anything with Helene. And if you think about it, Ian turned, and they didn't really understand that. Ian turned so far south, all that surge ended up not happening. So we have to take these serious. Okay, this is the official. And most of the time, as long as the track doesn't do anything crazy, it's probably going to be right on. And we're talking 8 to 12 feet for Tarpon down to Inglewood. Those are numbers that nobody's ever seen. We saw half of that with Helene. 8 to 12 feet, if that happens. I mean, the other thing that gets magnified. I mean, my phone is going crazy. What magnifies the surge, wherever the center goes, when you get waves and winds on top of surge, so you get your surge numbers 8 to 12 feet. That includes tide and water rise from the water push. Okay, but surge does not count waves and winds. Okay, so we have a strong system blowing even more wind than Helene and more waves. Those numbers increase. So you got 12 feet, then you have 100-mile-an-hour wind gusts plus massive waves on top of that surge. 12 foot plus massive waves. That's what ends up even being more significant. So it's deceiving. That's why we have massive southwest surge because of the winds that come in. Okay, still might get 8 to 12 foot center to north some, but it's the southwest flow of the feeder bands that bring these winds that add. So massive impacts south of center on top of the 8 to 12, if that makes sense. Okay, so there's current radar. This is all coming in from that other area. You almost see a little spin. So some of the other impacts we're going to talk about is I know wind takes all the chit chat, but we still have rain, and it's been raining. I came home, our house, It is absolutely saturated right now in Oldsmar. We've had so much rain. This is current radar. They're expecting still areas to get double-digit rains. Double-digit rains are going to happen. You don't know who's going to get them. Somebody's going to get 10, 15, 20 inches of rain. That's always a story. We get rain training on feeder bands. You don't know who's going to get it. You just know it's going to come. We're going to have a sheared system here. So what's really weird about this system, let's say the track is, somewhere like that. We have a lot of rain on the north side. That's because the end of this cycle of this storm is going to start to weaken a little bit. We're going to have wind shear coming in that's going to push a lot of water to the north side. So this is a little different setup here. We have a lot of rain on the north side compared to other systems. We have a lot of rain on the center to south side. And then we also have a lot of rain on this area because when our system exits, we're going to have on top of feeder bands, we're going to have surge or shear blowing that. So we're going to have a lot of rain here. Could be a big story for the upper parts of Florida East Coast there. This is double digit, 8 to 12 inches. Again, what happened with Ian? Ian made landfall, obviously, as a devastating hurricane, but we had flooding on the Florida East Coast that no one even expected. And that's kind of what we're looking at possibly here. So flooding is always a big inland concern. Here's your new flood map, by the way. They expanded the red. Red is a very moderate, good chance of some flash flooding. That's because of the water that we already have. Most of this red is going to happen Wednesday through Thursday. Still 2 days away. So our ground is completely saturated right now. Power problems, power outages are going to magnify. I mean, it's simple fact. We're going to have hurricane force winds all the way to the East Coast. We're going to have saturated grounds. Trees go over, trees take out power lines. It's just, that happens. We're going to lose cell phone towers. Roads are going to be impassable. If you're ordered to evacuate, 911 is not going to help you. Big reasons why you need to evacuate. And again, if you're just tuning in, the number one people to trust at this point, 2 days away, is your local county EOC offices. Okay, every county has their own department that is only job is to handle situations like this. Okay, so they are the most trained, the most knowledgeable for your area, and they will instruct you about everything. Okay, so that. Another question I get is, who do you listen to? Well, I appreciate listening to me, but I don't know every dang market that we have. There's a bazillion. Trust your local TV meteorologist at this point, okay? Every market, you have your TV market with meteorologists. Find that meteorologist you trust and follow him or her on social, on TV, and they will be there every step of the way. I can't be. I can't forecast areas like everybody wants me to. I paint the big picture, and then at this point you just need to start understanding your local counties and your local TV Mets, and of course your local National Weather Service offices, which I hope they might even have on here now. I need to add that link. They usually end up having, they do right here. See local products. So I'll add this link to my site. I'll put it right next to, I'll put it right here next to the FDEM. So I'm going to add it right here. Sean. Dan, I got your message too, buddy. I just started getting my texts coming through, I guess. But I want to put the link there for that, and you'll get good information. But that link here goes to this page, local products. So we have your local Miami, National Weather Service, Tallahassee, Key West, and Tampa Bay. You click on the threats and impacts map, and this is a very good map. I share it a lot. Then I don't, because it's kind of a worst case. It's deceiving, but it shows you worst case scenarios as far as wind gusts. Okay, so wind gusts, for example, purple, up to 110 miles an hour. Okay, in purple. Red, 74 to 110. Now, went into great detail last night about this possibility, and I'm going to show you here in a little bit. When our storm exits, wherever it exits, the dirty side is the north side. Look, we got some red showing up now. Potential for wind gusts along the coast. Some pretty significant wind gusts across the coast there. That's because the dirty side is now the north side. And we can see some big winds on that. Large area in orange, 58 to 73. These are power outage maps in a sense. We're going to see tremendous power outages. And the thing I'm worried about, resources are spread thin. We just had Helene. We have a lot of states still recovery. Let's go to the 30% or 30% of U.S. We got Furman on my mind. The Furman power outage map here. We still got 138,000 without power in North Carolina, 80,000 in Georgia, and 50,000 in South Carolina. So there's a lot of linemen out of Florida right now dealing with power. So I'm just worried about a longer, prolonged recovery. They'll be coming. It just might not be here because they're already staged somewhere else. Normally they'd be staged here, but there's just only so many resources. What was that? There's a big old boom here. So anyway, that's a little concerning for me, is the prolonged power outage map. All right, so this is a good tool. If we want to do storm surge, you can click on that. Purple's bad, red's bad, orange is bad. Purple's really bad, red's bad, orange is bad. And here's your northern areas here. I don't think we have any watches and warnings yet. They will come. But here's that north side, dirty side, exit. Possibly showing surge for North Florida. Now, remember when Ian and Nicole, now I'm sure somebody blasted me last night. Ian was a tropical storm when it exited Florida. So I put on there on exit. Somebody thought that I didn't know that Ian was a Cat 4. I do that. I was in it. But Ian exited our state as a tropical storm and brought tremendous damages to the Florida East Coast, okay? Nicole on approach, same thing. When Ian exited, dirty side, pounded the Florida coast there, taking out seawalls. And then we had Nicole show up. Nicole came in on the south side and did the same exact thing. So very concerned about center north on exit for impacts wherever our exit is for coastal areas. Okay, so that's going to be another story. It's going to be another story. I know it is. We learned from our past hurricanes. We know there's going to be a lot of beach erosion, and a lot of problems on that northern coastline of the East Coast or Atlantic side. So anyway, I'm going to add that tool. Enough of that. Let's get on to some other stuff. Other part of hurricanes, a lot of folks don't realize we have tornadoes. There'll be a ton of tornado warnings. We'll be having tornado watches. Again, not just a landfall issue, concern. It's always inland. People get caught off guard. Everybody focuses on where the heck it's going to hit, Look at all that area in yellow. This is for Wednesday. Tuesday, we start tomorrow. That's because the feeder bands are going to start getting here later tomorrow night. Tuesday. So areas in green tomorrow and overnight, you can start seeing tornado warnings popping up. We're going to have spiraling feeder bands coming in around. And Florida's unique because anytime we have any source, it doesn't matter this way, storms rotate in and they come in on all angles here. So this whole area in yellow on Wednesday is pretty much the south and the east side that could get feeder bands and tornadoes. So expect tornado warnings as early as tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, and especially Wednesday and Wednesday night. Probably expand to Thursday some for this area here, I would expect. So as our storm exits, we're going to start to see a brief moment of storms coming up here that could affect South Carolina, Georgia, and northern Florida too. So this is already starting to show up. Latest spaghetti models. All right, looks like we had another little tick back south again. A tick. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't want to be that one worried about ticks, okay? I got to stop that. Everybody, including me, is infatuated with small shifts, and they do not matter. God, they don't. They help in a good way. They help in a good way. Good way meaning who might be spared the rough stuff. But one person's shift, was that phrase? One person's trash is another person's treasure. So a shift might be good for one, but it's bad for another. So again, on the scheme of what I'm here to do is show the severity of the storm, the path of the storm, the impacts of the storm, and who might get what and who might not. But again, big cluster here over the I-4 corridor. We got the UK that was been the outlier in the CMC. And reading the NHC discussion today, I was really surprised because they were quoting the CMC and the Icon as the reasoning of their track, and not so much anything about the hurricane models, which I'm going to show you. But the hurricane models did phenomenal with Helene all the way to landfall, and they were trending east of the main models, which were a little to the west. So the hurricane models are still a little bit north of the main NHC line. Not a big deal, but it makes a big deal for who gets that big surge. But again, you can't predict that. That's the problem. You just don't know where that little shift's going to come. A 5-mile shift changes so much. 10-mile shift changes so much. But here's the latest models of Tropical Tidbits. Very high confidence. Ensembles here, kind of showing you that, we had a little shift with the GFS yesterday. It went way south of, Central Florida. Now the mean is the black line. The black line is the average of all the GFS ensembles, and they're pretty much right there. Right over me. Stronger a little to the north. I think what we're seeing here is this, too. I think, what we saw with Beryl, we saw this with Beryl. A lot of the ensembles were showing a weaker system going west and a stronger system going north. That's what hurricanes do. Google the Coriolis effect. They all want to do that. They all want to go back to the northeast. So I think what we're seeing here is the fact that these stronger ensembles from day one were always north of the ones that weren't. So a stronger system probably going to tick a little more north is what I'm saying, which is technically northeast. All storms want to go to the north and the east. So we're seeing it in a different way here. Like it's flip-flop 180 from what we never see this. We never see a track coming in from the west. But now we're starting to get a little more curve though, which is, I don't know. It's just a different track. It's just something we never seen. It's the 1848 hurricane. If you want to look up 1848 hurricane, it almost followed the exact same path, and it was the one that cleared out John's Pass in Pinellas County. It was named from a pirate named John. He was the first one that sailed through the brand new John's Pass, which is home of my buddy Dylan Hubbard. So, super ensemble plot. This is on Tomer Berg's website. I always love this. Kind of definitely puts things in perspective as far as the operational models go. We're going to look at the hurricane-specific models here in a second. GFS mean line is the green. The red is the euro. The black is the average of all four. The pink and blue are CMC and the UK. CMC, UK have been trending south. And the others are trending north. So he said the sound just got weird. I don't think I can change that. Might just be a Facebook thing. Oh, it's at 48. I can't read it. I'll just talk slower. So yeah, there we go. Operational models are trending a little bit south of your hurricane models. But high confidence, Florida Peninsula crossover. So there we go. I just got to slow down talking. My video processor does not like me starting to sound like an auctioneer, apparently. All right, so there's that. Now let's get into one more image I want to show you here. Would be this one, and then we're going to go into individual model runs. These are your latest 406Z, which is your morning run of your hurricane models, which I love these models. They're very accurate. They've been getting accurate. When you blend all four together, you get a sense, especially with intensity. H-Wharf, halves A, halves B, and the H-Mon. What they're doing is a little north, more like the GFS. Little north, little nudge. But they're also showing the chance of a last second weakening down to a Cat 3. There we go again, right? Half A showing a 933 millibar. we have 948, we have 955, and 951. But what you need to see is the size. These are surface winds. These are 10-meter winds. Make sure I didn't put 850. 850 is always dramatic looking because they're more upper level winds. 10 meters, kind of a judge of surface winds. But purple is a large area of basically hurricane force winds. And what you're seeing is this system really get big. It's a teeny little system now, but it's going to double in size. And that usually indicates interaction with upper levels, starting to widen out. But what this also means is there's going to be bigger winds inland and more surge because you got a bigger system, bigger ball of water being pushed. Tiny little system like Charlie pushed a little less water. A bigger, wider system like an Ian pushed a lot of water. So this is this is a weird case where weakening is a bad thing. Believe it or not. Bad meaning a lot more people are impacted. A lot wider area, more inland area. So weakening has turned this into a bigger, wider, farther reaching system with these purple hurricane winds. So, and they're all a little north. This is what gets me a little concerned about where I live, Tampa Bay area. The perception is, that center line, which I say don't look at, but little shifts matter as far as the major impacts, and that of course affects millions of people. Maybe when we had a landfall in a region that didn't have any towns, the 5-mile shifts aren't that much a big deal because landfall, same grassy area, hopefully. This is different. This is a 10-mile shift affects a different million people. We have millions of people in Braden, Sarasota, Venice area. We have millions of people in Tampa Bay area. We got millions of people north of Tampa Bay area. So these little shifts are going to change the major impacts as far as surge and who gets the bad winds. Areas that are already recovering from, they're not even recovering yet. We're just dealing with Helene. All right, last graphic here. This might be slowing things down. Then I'm going to show you all the latest models. Then we'll call it a day because I got a million things to do. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm usually a little more personable than this, but not during times like this. So I make these graphics. I do a lot of hurricane presentations. I love them. I do them all the time. This is a new one I put together this year. I didn't think I'd be using it for this year, but maybe my inside hurricane gut told me I'd be using it this year. Put this together in February. I did this in February. And it's talking back to me, Tampa Bay area. Okay, it is not if, it is when. Okay, in recent years, Tampa Bay, we've had 3 storms head this way, and all 3 turned to the south. All 3 storms you were ordered to evacuate. Will you be evacuating again? And the line that I like to use is don't be stubborn. Okay, every storm is different. You have to hit that reset button. It might have turned in the past. Maybe this one will turn again. I hate that, but you have to think worst case scenario in times like this. Okay, I mean, interesting usage here. Shelters in Pinellas County during Irma, about 17,000 were used. During Ian, only about 3,000 were used. That tells me that people during Ian said, I ain't evacuating. Hopefully they listen this time. Oldsmar, 80% of our population stayed during Ian, even though we were under mandatory evacuation. So don't be stubborn. Just, if you're ordered to evacuate, I used to not talk this talk, but now I see the results of areas that needed to be evacuated and why. And I believe in listening to your EOC. Trust me. 911 will be inoperable. They cannot be on the road. You might be dealing with flooding in your house. You're going to be dealing with trees hitting your roof. You're going to be dealing with just all kinds of impacts you might not want to be around for. So that's big decisions to make. All right, let's look at all the latest. I don't think we're going to have any 12Z models yet, but let me just kind of show you what's happening here. So we got an unprecedented, massively Category 4 hurricane just popped out of nowhere. If you haven't heard, our system now is reached Category 4 strength. It wasn't supposed to do that for a day at least. So our models are going to change. So we have something called initialization, and where they start their model run. Okay, so for example, the latest HWRF started its model run thinking that Milton was a 963 hurricane. Well, right now it's not. Currently it's like 940, maybe lower. I don't even know. So this is going to change everything. We almost got a guaranteed Cat 5 coming. How long it maintains that is a question none of us know. But what I do want to show you is how all of them are small and intensify incredibly fast, and then they do weaken up on approach to the area. Now, look at that rain all of a sudden just change. We go from that to that. Massive expansion. These are the feeder bands we'll talk about. They're going to be very strong. They're going to be going through the state, way ahead of center. These are the feeder bands that are going to bring a lot of surge south and south of that eye because of the winds. So we have the surge, but then the south side has the waves and the winds from the tail. So that gets added to that surge. That's why we get the bigger numbers south of center. But, a little weakening. We got dry air coming into play. It's still 949. Pressures don't care about moisture. Like, we might have lack of rain because of dry air, but we're going to have 949 pressure, which is Cat 3 winds at least, and that's the concern. You can see the dry air coming in. It's just a matter of when. And when it starts to dry up, maybe it doesn't, maybe it does. I don't know. A lot of moisture across the state of Florida, a lot of moisture for northern Florida. And I don't think we have any surge valve. I'm looking at North Florida. We're going to have surge coming into play. They're going to update this for the Florida East Coast. We don't have anything showing yet, but we've already seen it. When this thing exits, we're going to see some surge possibly here, guaranteed, to watch out for. So let's go back to other models. Let's just stick it to the winds here. I just want to kind of show you the latest tracks. Let's go to the latest HMON. The wind map here. Let's take a look at. Oh man, that's crazy. All right, so here's the latest HMON 940 on approach. Notice it's Tampa Bay northward. I'm just, these models did really good with Helene as far as kind of going against the others, but it is weakening. It is expanding that wind field. Right there, boom, look at these big winds. So again, a landfall here, big winds stretching out still. So huge winds, widening wind field. Those bigger winds now impact more people far from center. And this is what's showing. I mean, we're talking hurricane winds in the Orlando area. We're talking 960 Gainesville, Ocala, Brooksville. All y'all are going to get hurricane winds, gusts. And then on exit, look at this. These are big winds. We got a frontal line to the north. This is the big concern when this thing exits. So wherever it exits, we're going to see a lot of winds impacting not only Florida, but Georgia and South Carolina. This is Thursday morning, but this is that Ian Nicole effect as we get the dirty side now on the north side. And these are some pretty big winds showing up on these models. Down in Jacksonville, could be some issues for the river. St. Mary's, St. Mark's, St. John's. God, get to me Saints. There's those big winds. The HMON's showing it. Others are showing it too. So that's the HMON. HAFS A is a good model here. And look at 910, 925. 933, 947. Starting to weaken, but 947. So come on. We don't want a 910. We don't want a 947. But a 947 is not a 910. But 947 is not a system any of us have ever felt here in Tampa Bay area either. So that's historic. There's our exit. There's our winds on Thursday. Obviously, big winds possibly wrapping around the backside into the upper parts of the Atlantic coast there. So just think of Ian and Nicole and those effects after the storm. We already know there's going to be massive rain here in the northern part of the eastern part of Florida. Talked about that a bunch. And then your Hass B here, basically just north Tampa Bay, 950. So they're all showing a weakening, but is it going to be enough to really matter? That's the bottom line. Are we still going to see massive effects? 930 is going to be pushing a lot of water. System might be weakening a little bit, but the surge is coming regardless. Latest Euro wave maps. Let me show you. Haven't even looked at these yet. All right, let's see here. Let's look at Gulf of Mexico. And we'll see what the Euro's a little under intensified as everybody else, but still showing 59 feet. This is not surged, but this is what's added to the push of the water that brings waves on top of surge with the winds. So that's crazy numbers. 59 feet max, that close to the Florida West Central Coast. Again, that's not surge; those are ocean waves, but still helps fuel the big stuff that's coming. So we might see more surge numbers. This thing gets stronger than expected. Guess what? It's going to weaken, but it's going to weaken to a stronger system, and that's going to increase the surge. So I think people understand surge now. In fact, let's take a look at the latest Gulf surge map. Close to 8 feet. This is clear water. That's probably almost about a foot more than what they showed for Helene. So we know what that did. St. Petersburg showing 9 plus. That's more than Helene. So yeah, it's whatever you got in Helene, you're probably going to get even more. So all right, let me show you the latest GFS. GFS did really good with all the storms this season, and it's pretty much showing a 948. It's not the difference with the GFS that I've been noticing. The GFS is continuing to show moisture and not collapsing the eye wall. This is 948 smack dab right off the coast of Tampa Bay. So realistically, where I live, if you live in Tampa Bay area, the latest GFS is probably the worst case scenario. Still got moisture wrapped around the eye. It's not weakening yet. 948 is still very strong, Cat 3, Cat 4. And, kind of skirting that coast, bringing a lot more surge along the way. And again, North Florida impacts 981. So it's the outlier. The NHC is not showing that. The NHC is actually showing a little turn like that. The GFS is showing that. But again, we have the cone. And I'm going to end it with the cone. Anybody new watching this show? The cone is anywhere that the eye can go. If you look at the cone, the GFS is still in that cone. The cone is anywhere the eye could go. Don't get wrapped up in the center. Don't. And the impacts usually extend way past this cone. That's why we have tornado likely going to happen down the Keys up through South Florida. So the impacts extend way outside. Usually not on the north side, always usually on the south side. So this area here is still going to have some pretty big impacts because it has nothing to do with the cone. But again, the cone. I can tell you this. 2 days out, here's what I've been learning. And I'm almost going to bet money on it now. 2 days out. We're almost 2 days out now. The cone that we're seeing now will not be the cone that we see happen. Or the track, I mean, not the cone. Cone, yes, not track. So usually what I've been seeing lately, we focus on the center line right here, right? 2 days out. More times than not, I would say 7 out of 10, my best guess, 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. The storm's either going to be north of where it's at now or south of where it's at now, but it'll be in this cone. It's just, where does it make that last second shift? Okay, Helene kept going a little bit east, right? So, and as of all the other storms. So anyway, cone. We got to focus on the cone. We can't focus on these little shifts with this. This is I just number one thing I hear, and we need to all together work together on this, is educate as much as we can what surge means, what the cone means, what the center line doesn't mean, and how the impacts reach well past the inland, okay, or landfall. Number one comment I get was, "Oh my God, I didn't think we were going to get that." Well, this is going to be a hurricane over Lakeland. 1 a.m. Thursday morning with 85 sustained winds, gusts up to 105. And this wind is going to be wide. Remember Irma came up? We had damages on Pinellas County from Irma. This wind field is going to be wide. We're going to see massive trees down, massive power outages down. Garage doors are going to be blown in. You're going to see back patios gone. You're going to see fences down everywhere. This is inland. You're going to see, don't be driving around. There's going to be power lines everywhere. We're going to have water on the roadways. A lot of obstacles out there. Trees are going to be falling. Don't be driving in this at night. I can tell you right now, if you've never experienced a hurricane driving, you're going to see trees down. They pop up out of nowhere because it's dark. You got power lines dangling. You don't want to be out there, okay? You just don't want to be out there. You don't want to be driving in it, okay? You just stay safe. Prepare for your power outages now. Charge all your phones. Have lots of cash. Cash is everything. The more I hear about it, cash is king. ATMs go down. They can't take credit cards. They're not going to let you come back and pay. It ain't Little House on the Prairie days. They want their money. So have cash. Cash. If you need gas, quarters for laundry machines is big. Generator safety. You got to walk around your neighborhood, make sure nobody's got a generator in their garage or their house. Generators release carbon monoxide, and that is not good. We know that. So 20 feet away from your house, please advocate for that. When you have rising water, make sure you turn your breakers off, because once that water reaches your receptacle, then everything shorts out and you could have electrocution, your whole house. So you got to turn your breakers off when we have surge. That's a major deal. It's not too late to get a 12-volt inverter. Those are little things. You can get them on Amazon, one-day shipping. They plug into your 12-volt and they convert to electricity, so you can at least plug something in if you need to plug in a charger or computer, or who else knows, or oxygen machine. My mom and dad, my mom's on oxygen, so I got my mom and dad a 12-volt inverter, because they don't have an inverter in their car. If she needs to plug in her oxygen, at least they can go out in their car and plug it into the 12-volt, and they can plug in their inverter. So those are invaluable. Having extra battery packs that you can charge phones. Remember, bigger the milliamp, 30, 40, 50. Get the biggest milliamp you can get, because that means it's going to hold a lot more battery to charge. Again, if you haven't got a hotel room yet, I would get one now, because once they start evacuating, people are going to be panicking, calling these hotels, and they're already half full from Helene. So it's going to be very difficult to try to find hotels. Make sure they have pets. If you have pets, make sure they allow pets. Make sure your EOC counties, which I mentioned before, they tell you pet-friendly shelters. Very important. You know, gather up all your important documents and stuff that if you're worried about, you know, flood. But these are things you should already be researching on your own with the hurricane plan and prepare webpage at National Weather. Or lower pressure, which is amazing. So we got Cat 4 already. Cat 4. So, all right. Well, I hope this was impactful and you got some good information. We'll be live tonight. We'll let you know what time. What time's good, Shelly? 8 o'clock? I got to do a show here at 10:30. I got to get ready for, so I might be going down. So, yeah. So we'll do 9 o'clock tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern. All right. So 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. We'll have an update. We'll have all new data. We'll have an 11 o'clock cone coming out. We got a 5 o'clock cone coming out. By every time we get a new cone, things get it gets tighter and tighter and tighter. This thing's definitely going to be a Cat 5. It looks like it's going to weaken. It's going to expand. Don't let the weakening change your alertness level. Weakening from a 5 to a 3 is, you know, we shouldn't even be allowed to say the word weakening at this point. So I just, you know, I go to a lot of these hurricanes. You know, we got like 2 minutes here, and I got to go. Brew Crew 2. You're just gonna see a lot of damage, a lot of trees down. We're gonna see trees down everywhere. We're gonna see fences down. We're gonna see power poles down. We're gonna see roof damages. We're gonna see, you know, RVs on their side. We're gonna see, you know, windows broken, flooded waters. You know, if you got a low-lying garage or door or outside door, you know, wind-driven rains will blow water in, and that's, you know, you don't even have to have flooding in your street, but if you have just a 1-inch accumulation of water blowing in your front door or garage, that's why we need, you know, you need some sort of thing. Tiger Dam makes an awesome tool. Tiger Dam has a flood system. You know, the sandbags only work if you put some sort of a cellophane or bisqueen behind it. They don't, you know, otherwise it's going to go between the sandbags. So you got to put some protection up on your doorways if you worry about wind-driven surge just from rainwater. Those are real deals, you know. And you know, hopefully you got gas now. If you don't, I mean, definitely go get gas. I mean, if you got cans of gas, fill it up, man, because when we run out of gas, it's going to be a long time before the stations start getting gas again. You know, so anyway, all right. We'll be up later tonight. By now, things are getting a little more real. I'm kind of passing the baton. It's only Monday. We'll be live again tomorrow. We got live again tomorrow night. So we'll be keeping you updated every step of the way. The only big changes, I think, in the last 2 days we've noticed is a widening system at landfall, bringing more impacts coastal and inland. I think the northeast dirty side of this system is not talked about enough yet. I think we're going to see some surprise effects for the northern side of this as it exits Florida into Georgia, South Carolina, and definitely northern Florida. I think the ground saturation is a big story with these rains. I think we're going to see some isolated flooding that might be impactful. And just the people that are already dealt with Helene. I mean, I don't think people really know how many people right now are, you know, were flooded just 2 weeks ago, and everything's out on the street. And here we are again. So crazy. All right. So we'll see you later today. Thanks for tuning in. Now we got to do some posts about this thing